Hello everyone, welcome to my program. As you know, my name is Dr. Lee. I come from Bukit Mertajam, my hometown, in the northern part of peninsular Malaysia. And at this point now, at this time, I'm staying in Johor, in a town called Kluang. So again, welcome everyone. As you know, second time saying that, as you know, because it's already lesson 33. I'm sure you know me by now, but still I have to, give a brief introduction if there are any new viewers. So this is the book I'm uploading at this time. Okay, this is level 2, all grammar. The whole book is in grammar. There are 40 chapters altogether, all different parts of grammar. 40 different parts of grammar. And this is my first book, the first book that I published. And this has 38 chapters, 38 different parts of grammar. This one, 40. Now, if I were to, to tell you or to analyze, I think that, I have, my book 2, this book 2 is considered quite complete. Quite complete in the sense that you have 40 different types of grammar. And I would say that even if, you think carefully, I think there would not be more than 50 different chapters in grammar. I don't think there are more than 50. Whereas this one is only level 2. There are already, I have already given you 40 different types of grammar. I think complete maybe 50, but I don't think you go to 60, 70. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Okay. And this second level, this book level 2 is very special because upon request from my subscribers and from my buyers, people who bought this book, actually no, people who bought this book, level 1. So while I was writing level 2, I had a lot of requests from my subscribers, from those who bought my level 1. They requested that I publish my level 2 in 2 languages. I said okay. So they wanted Bahasa Melayu and English. So I said okay. So I have this book written in 2 languages, Bahasa Melayu and Bahasa Inggris and English. And I think it's okay. The explanation part, all 40 lessons, all 40 chapters, all of it, every different chapter, I have an explanation. And I explain in Bahasa Melayu and English. I'm actually halfway through level 3, and in level 3 I use 100% English, back to English again, because I think those people who requested for me to publish this book, this level 2 in bilingual version, English and Bahasa Melayu, I think by the time they finish with me level 2, which is lesson 40, I think their English will be quite okay already. So when I do level 3, they can follow. I'm sure they can, all in English, because it's a repeat. I mean, you only have to do it once, As I mentioned before, really, actually, even if there are 7 or 8 or 9 books all on grammar, the lessons will be the same. Because I mentioned too, I think you still remember, whether you are in primary school, let us say primary 4, 5 and 6, secondary school, university, after university working, I'm sure when you use English, you would be using what I'm teaching today. All like simple articles. You will use article throughout the time you use English, whether you are in primary school, secondary school, university or working. Everyone has to use a and the. You see, it looks very simple, you know, and the. The only has 3 letters, that's simple. But then, I personally have seen many articles, essays, you know, things written by people where they make mistakes in and the. Or 0 article. I mean, you don't have to write anything, but I see suddenly coming out, the coming out, and coming out. So then it means to say that we never stop using example and the. We never stop using conjunctions. And but so because, do you ever stop using this? You don't. Do you stop using prepositions? You know, prepositions seem so easy, you know. 2 letters, in, on, at, by. It looks easy, you know. Or maybe over, only 4 letters. You know, it looks very easy, you know. In, at, on, up, up, you know. It looks easy, but the thing is, when we see, you know, articles or emails or, you know, essays or assignments, we see all these mistakes, you know, preposition, unable to use in, at, the difference, or on, unable to use. So that is to tell you that whether I'm writing book 5 or book 6 or book 1 or book 2, all the topics will be the same. Only thing is, of course, I will keep increasing. That's the only thing. You know, like level 1, 38 lessons, level 2, 40 lessons, level 3, 42 lessons, keep increasing. But I can tell you, I don't think there will be 55, 60 lessons. I think maximum should be around 50. And this book itself has already got 40 lessons. So I would say that it's quite complete, you know. It's really quite complete. Okay, so we are now at lesson 33, video 1. I will be doing 2 videos because simply 2 videos will take me some time already, roughly 20 minutes. Then you have level exercise 3 and 4. So I will, you know, bring forward to the next video. So lesson 33, like comparison of adjectives, we also have comparison of adverbs. So as you know, adjectives and adverbs are describing words, but adjectives describe nouns. For example, people, animals, things, places, or situations. Whereas adverbs describe verbs. Of course, if you go higher, I will tell you that adverbs describe adjectives as well. Adverbs describe adjectives. But we will not go into that, because for this level and this exercise, we do not have adjectives, adverbs describing adjectives. Okay, for level 2, for this exercise, we only focus on adverbs which describe verbs, action words. Talk loudly. Eat hungrily. Okay? For adverbs that describe adjectives is not in our scope now. Okay, so I will concentrate on this. So it's the same as comparison of adjectives, which we have done before. There are 3 parts to it. First, you have the positive degree. no comparison. It means that they are the same level. So we use S to represent same level. When you use the same level, all the adverbs are in the base form, the original form. Okay? Comparative degree is the same as comparison of adjectives actually, by using more than. That means it's a comparison between two. And superlative degree is super means the highest level. Comparison between 3 and more than 3. So we use the most to represent. So let me just read the answers. You know why? Because there are no sentences. If you look at this book, we are now doing this too. It's in the table form. So it's very simple. I will just read. Okay? I will just read. Just listen. It's okay. So as angrily as, more angrily than, the most angrily. So here angrily does not describe the person, but describe the action. Example, Peter shouted angrily, or shouted as angrily as his brother. Okay, so that means, is there a comparison? No, it means the same. Both are angry. But the angrily does not describe the person. The angrily describes the word shouted, the action. So more angrily than, maybe Muthu shouted more angrily than Raju. And then Asman shouted the most angrily among all of them, among everyone present. Okay? As brightly as, more brightly than, the most brightly. Brightly is, example, the sun is shining as brightly today as was yesterday. So that means we are not talking about the sun. We are talking about shining. Okay? So the sun was shining more brightly yesterday than today. And then the sun was shining the most brightly 3 days ago, for example. So that means we are not talking about the sun. We are talking about shining, which is a verb. As clearly as, more clearly than, the most clearly. Clearly we use for explaining is good. So example, Miss Tan explained. Explain is a verb. So the adverb is clearly. So Miss Tan explained as clearly as Encik Zaki. That means both of them are the same, you know. No comparison. But this one, yes, two persons now. Example, Mr. Ong explained more clearly than Mr. Lee. That means there is a comparison now. Okay? And then Encik Faiz explained the most clearly among all the teachers. That means only one out of all, more than 3. 3 or more than 3. As carefully as, more carefully than, the most carefully. So let us say drive. Okay? Okay, I drive as carefully as my brother. Same. That means we are the same level. This one, comparison between two. So my sister drives more carefully than my mother, for example. And the last one, my brother drives the most carefully among everyone. Or I simply say the most carefully in our family is okay as well. Here again, we are not talking about the person. We are talking about driving. Okay? About drives. About an action. So when you talk about the action, you use an adverb with the word ly behind or ily behind. Okay? As happily as. So example, 2 little children. Happily, the most, usually they play happily. So example, Kiki plays as happily as Mimi. two little children, both are equally happy. So Kiki plays. The happily describes play. It does not describe Kiki. It's not talking about Kiki. It's talking about playing, which is a verb. And then this one, Kiki, Mimi, now Lily. Lily plays more happily than Sissy, for example. So you see, comparison between two. Again, we are not talking about, what's the name, I've forgotten, Lily and Sissy, we're not talking about that. I'm sorry, just simply. And then the most happily, among all the children, perhaps Zizi. Zizi plays the most happily among all the children in the playground. That means one only, superlative, the highest level. We are not describing Zizi, but we are describing playing or plays. Okay? As kindly as, more kindly than the most kindly. Example, this nurse talks as kindly as that nurse. That means they are the same. But we are not talking about these two persons. We are talking about the action talks. Okay? And then the doctor talks more kindly than the nurse. Comparison between two. And then the most kindly, that means among all, that one is the most, talks the most kindly. So for example, my grandfather talks the most kindly in my family. So that means one in the whole family. Of course, whole family there should be more than one, more than three, right? And exercise 2, as loudly as, more loudly than the most loudly. Loudly maybe read, for example. So let us say, Davy reads as loudly as Kamala. So they are the same. But we are not talking about Davy and Kamala. We are talking about reading, the action, the verb. Okay? So we do not worry who it is. What we are comparing is the verb. But in this case, there's no comparison. That means both of them have the same standard, same level. But then this is different. Among the two, I should say between the two. So let us say, Tini reads more loudly than Kasturi. Comparison between two. Again, we are not talking about Tini and Kasturi. We are talking about read. We are talking about the verb. We are not talking about these two girls. And let us say one more name. Ratna. Ratna reads the most loudly in class. One class, I'm sure there will be more than 3 persons. It can't be 2 persons in a class. So my meaning is more than 3. So Ratna reads the most loudly. Again, loudly does not describe Ratna. It describes reading or reads. As quietly as, more quietly than the most quietly. So here, quietly describes an action. For example, I say, let us talk about Betty, a girl's name. Betty sits as quietly as a mouse. Are they the same? Yes. There's no comparison. They are both the same. But then this is different. This is different. So we have Catherine. Catherine sits more quietly than Natasha. So comparison between two. And Daniel sits the most quietly in his class. So that means we are describing sit or sits. We are not describing Daniel or Natasha or Catherine. We are not. Okay? As softly as, more softly than the most softly. My sister talks or sings as softly as my brother, it means they are the same. But we are not describing my sister and my brother. We are describing the action sings. But this one, yes, comparison between two. Example, my uncle sings more softly than my aunt. It's just an example. And my grandmother sings the most softly among all of us. Okay, it's just example. Okay, as slowly as, more slowly than, the most slowly. So slowly describes an action. For example, walk. Okay, the old man walks as slowly as a tortoise. Is there any comparison? No. It means to say I won't use the word comparing. We are using tortoise to be with the old man. That means they are equally slow. I would say like that is better. They walk equally slowly. And then here, more slowly than, yes, this one there is a comparison. Okay, the old woman walks more slowly than her daughter. And lastly, Lima walks the most slowly in her neighborhood. Okay, that means the highest level. Again, we are not talking about the people. We are talking about the action walk or walks. As fiercely as, more fiercely than, the most fiercely. The best example would be maybe a dog. My dog barks as fiercely as my neighbor's dog. Any comparison? No. It means they are the same. But we are not talking about the dogs. We are talking about the barking. More fiercely than. Now there is a comparison. So we can say Ramu's dog barks more fiercely than Selena's dog. Comparison between two. Again, we are not talking about Ramu and Selena. We are talking about the barking action. And lastly, maybe we say Ellen. Ellen's dog barks the most fiercely among all the dogs. So among all the dogs in my neighborhood, for example. So again, all these words describe actions. Actions describe verbs. They don't describe the people doing the action, carrying out the action. Now you see, adverbs are, for me, adverbs are easier than adjectives because adverbs, as you can see, most adverbs end with ly or ily. Of course, not all. Not all, most of the time. So most of the time, adverbs have ly behind, can you see, or ily. So as we have done before, even in adjectives, ly or ily, we are safe already. S-A-F-E, safe. That means it is safe to put more than the most. But adjectives, no. Adjectives is far more difficult compared to adverbs. Because adjectives is different. Some you put E-R-E-S-T, some you put more, some you put most. But adjectives most of the time, because it ends with ly, ly, ly or ily, so it's a bit easier compared to, adjective. That is why for adverbs, I do not give a lot of exercise. Even I give exercise, I don't give so many. Because it seems like, it's like, you have a formula. You just have to put more than, and then the most. It's like, having a formula like this. So then, of course, it becomes a lot more easier compared to adjectives, which, adjectives are much more difficult in that sense. Now, another thing I want to tell you is, this is exercise 1, exercise 2. You can see that it's very, very something like a formula style, more than the most, SS, more than the most. But when you come to exercise 3 is dealing with irregular adjectives. Just like I'm sorry, irregular adverbs. It's just like adjectives, you know, irregular. Irregular means to say, like for adjectives, irregular means you don't put EREST. You don't put more than the most. Irregular adverbs is the same. You do not put more than the most. You change the whole word. So in that sense, in grammar, there are 3 areas where you have irregular situations. For example, irregular verbs, irregular adjectives, noun, irregular adverbs. Okay, so lesson 3 we will be doing irregular adverbs, and there are 6 questions which I have written in sentence form, whereby you use your knowledge to do comparison of adverbs. Okay, so that's all for this lesson. I will see you again the next lesson, which is still comparison of adverbs for the last video. Then we can move to lesson 34. Now, same thing, just to tell you, if you want to buy my books, if you want to learn speaking, okay, go to my TikTok, my Instagram. And if you are keen, if you are interested to improve your English, and you would like me to teach you, you can always WhatsApp me, okay, let me know what you need, then we can arrange a class. And starting this year and next year, I will be moving around, in the sense that if in one place there are many people, that you can organize a class of people who wants to learn, I can go to that place to teach. Okay, I can go to that place, but you organize the class. You can invite me over to teach whatever you want to know, to learn, whatever that group wants to learn actually. So I can go to your place. Of course, there must be enough people, and you can let me know what you like to learn, what kind of course you want. Then I can go for short course, or what I call an intensive course. For students, for adults, for working people, is fine with me, no problem. Okay, if you organize and you want me to go to your place, I can go. Okay, so that's all for this lesson. Remember to give me a like, share and subscribe until we meet again in the next video. Goodbye. Oh yeah, by the way, I would like to wish all Muslims Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri 2024. Goodbye.